Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey Cowboys Nation. Today we're diving deep into a story that's stirring up a lot of conversation across the NFL community. It's about the Dallas Cowboys, their current struggles, and some very candid comments that might just shake the foundation of this team's coaching staff. For months now, we've seen flashes of brilliance from the Cowboys, but also moments of inconsistency that have left fans and analysts scratching their heads. And right now, with the team sitting at a precarious 6-7-1 record and their playoff hopes hanging by a thread, it's more critical than ever to understand what's really going on behind the scenes. So buckle up, because we're about to unpack every detail, every implication, and what this could mean for the Cowboys' future. Let's start with the big revelation that's been making waves across social media and sports news outlets. Recently, Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer, in a surprisingly forthright manner, has come out in support of owner Jerry Jones's criticism of the defense. Yes, you heard that right. Schottenheimer, known for his more measured approach, has openly backed Jones's comments about the defense's poor performance. But before we get into the nuances of that, let's set the stage. The Dallas Cowboys, a team known for their storied history, legendary defenses, and iconic players, are currently facing a crisis on the defensive side of the ball. In their latest game against the Minnesota Vikings, the Cowboys allowed 34 points, a figure that speaks volumes about the struggles on defense. The Vikings, led by quarterback J.J. McCarthy, carved through Dallas's defense with relative ease, exposing weaknesses that have been persistent throughout the season. This game was not just another loss. It was a reflection of a defense that has been underperforming all year long. The Cowboys, now at 6-7-1, have a minuscule chance, less than 1% according to most projections, of making the playoffs. That's a stark reality that's hard to ignore, especially considering the franchise's expectations of competing at the highest level every season. But here's the kicker. Jerry Jones, ever the outspoken owner and GM, didn't shy away from criticizing his own defense publicly. After the Vikings game, he pointed fingers at the unit's preparation, implying that the coaching staff, specifically defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus, bears responsibility for the defensive woes. Jones's comments were not subtle. They carried a veiled shot at Eberflus, who, as you all know, was the head coach of the Chicago Bears until 2024 before taking on this role with Dallas. Eberflus's defense has allowed an average of 30 points per game, second worst in the NFL, and that's a statistic that's hard to ignore. It's a glaring sign that something is fundamentally wrong. Now, here's where things get even more intriguing. Brian Schottenheimer, in his first year as the Cowboys' head coach, was asked about Eberflus's job security, especially in light of Jones's criticism, and his response was telling. Schottenheimer didn't dismiss the possibility that Eberflus is coaching for his job in these final weeks of the season. Instead, he acknowledged that the team has not played well enough on defense, admitting frankly, "We have not played well enough in that area." This kind of honesty from Schottenheimer is rare in the NFL, where coaches often employ measured language to avoid controversy. But here, he was clear. The defense's struggles are real, and they are a direct reflection of coaching and execution. It's important to analyze Schottenheimer's comments in the context of the NFL coaching landscape. Coaches are often judged by their results, and with the Cowboys' defense allowing an average of 30 points per game, the pressure on Eberflus is mounting. The fact that Schottenheimer, who is known for his offensive expertise, is openly expressing doubts about the defense's performance and even hinting at potential coaching changes is significant. It signals a level of internal concern that might not have been as openly discussed before. But let's take a step back and analyze the overall picture. Why has Dallas's defense been so porous this season? Well, it's not just one player or one mistake. It's a systemic issue. The Cowboys, despite having talented players like Micah Parsons, who has been a bright spot and one of the league's most dominant pass rushers, have struggled to contain offenses consistently. Their secondary has been vulnerable, and the linebacker core, which is critical for stopping the run and defending against tight ends, has been less effective than in previous seasons. The scheme itself, perhaps, isn't adapting well to the evolving NFL offenses, which are becoming more pass-heavy and sophisticated. Speaking of Micah Parsons, he's been a shining light in an otherwise dark defensive season. His ability to pressure the quarterback and make game-changing plays has kept the Cowboys in some games. But even Parsons can't do everything alone. The rest of the defense, including players like Leighton Vander Esch and the secondary, has struggled with consistency, communication, and execution. The team's defensive ranking, second worst in points allowed, reflects these issues clearly. And with the trade deadline acquisition of Quinnen Williams not having the desired impact, it's evident that Dallas's defensive problems run deeper than just personnel. Now, when we think about the impact of all this on the team's season and future, some questions naturally arise. Can the Cowboys turn things around in time to salvage their playoff hopes? To do that, they must win out and hope that the Philadelphia Eagles, their divisional rivals, stumble. But the Eagles, who currently lead the NFC East, are formidable. And with a schedule that includes games against the Buffalo Bills, it's unlikely they'll lose twice in 3 weeks. Still, Dallas's remaining schedule isn't easy either. 3 critical games against the Chargers, the New York Giants, and the Commanders all on the road. And each of those matchups could define whether this team's season extends or ends prematurely. The reality is, Dallas's best shot at the postseason now hinges on winning the NFC East. If they can sweep the division and hope for a few breaks elsewhere, they might still sneak into the playoffs. But realistically, with the way their defense has performed, their chances are slim, less than 1% as some projections suggest. That's a brutal truth, and it puts enormous pressure on the coaching staff, especially on Eberflus. The question is, will Jerry Jones make a move? And if he does, what would that mean for the team's chemistry and future direction? This situation echoes past seasons where coaching changes were made late in the season amid mounting losses. Remember, the Cowboys have a passionate fan base that expects nothing less than excellence. And when the defense underperforms, it doesn't just affect the scoreboard. It affects the entire morale of the team. The players, especially those like Micah Parsons, who are leaders on the field, are likely feeling the weight of these struggles. How they respond in these final games could be crucial for their development and for the team's culture moving forward. Now, let's consider the broader NFL landscape. The Cowboys aren't the only team facing defensive issues, but their situation is particularly stark given their historical defensive prowess. Comparing them to other NFL giants, such as the 2013 Seahawks or the 2000 Ravens, who dominated with top-tier defenses, highlights how far Dallas has fallen this season. They're currently struggling to stop both the run and the pass, which is a recipe for disaster in today's NFL. The league's offensive schemes have evolved rapidly, and defenses that don't adapt quickly are left behind. Looking ahead, the Cowboys' future hinges on several factors. First, can they improve defensively in the next few weeks? Schottenheimer's emphasis on game planning and adjustment will be critical. He's now under pressure to motivate and develop the defense, possibly even considering personnel changes or scheme adjustments. Second, how will the players respond? Micah Parsons, as a leader, will need to elevate his game and rally the team. The secondary, including the safety duo and cornerbacks, must tighten their coverage and communication to avoid giving up big plays. And finally, the coaching staff's ability to adapt tactically will be tested. Will they double down on their current scheme or make bold changes? Another key aspect to consider is the rivalry factor. The Cowboys have a storied rivalry with the Washington Commanders, and that game, along with their upcoming matchups, could be pivotal. Beating the Commanders not only boosts morale, but also keeps alive their slim playoff hopes. But even if they win those games, the bigger question remains. Can their defense hold up against high-powered offenses like the Bills or the Giants? Those are the true tests of their resilience and coaching acumen. Let's not forget the fans' perspective. Cowboys fans are notoriously passionate, and right now they are divided, some still holding on to hope, others feeling frustrated and anxious. Social media is flooded with debates about Eberflus's future, Schottenheimer's leadership, and the team's overall direction. It's a tense atmosphere, but also one that can serve as motivation for the players to rally together. This is what makes football so compelling: the drama, the unpredictability, the high stakes. In terms of historical context, this isn't the first time the Cowboys have faced adversity. Remember the 2015 season, when they started poorly but managed to turn things around and make the playoffs? Or 2018, when injuries decimated their roster but they still fought hard? These seasons are reminders that in the NFL, nothing is set in stone. But the key difference now is that their defense, historically a strength, has become a glaring weakness. And that's a hard pill to swallow for a franchise that prides itself on its defensive identity. So, what can we expect moving forward? The final 3 weeks of the season are crucial. The Cowboys need to find a way to improve defensively, whether through scheme adjustments, player rotations, or perhaps even personnel shifts. They need Micah Parsons to continue his elite play and for the secondary to tighten up. Offensively, they've been solid, but controlling the clock and minimizing turnovers will be essential to keep their hopes alive. And most importantly, they need to stay motivated despite the mounting challenges. In conclusion, this story isn't just about a single game or a single criticism. It's about a team at a crossroads, grappling with internal issues, coaching questions, and the harsh reality of the NFL's competitive landscape. The comments from Jerry Jones and Brian Schottenheimer reflect a candid acknowledgement of the struggles, and perhaps hint at bigger changes looming on the horizon. For fans, it's a roller coaster of emotions, hope, frustration, anticipation, all rolled into one. The question now is, will the Cowboys be able to rally, turn things around, and make a miraculous playoff push? Or will this season be remembered as a missed opportunity, a season of what-ifs? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the coming weeks will be critical and every game will matter more than ever. So stay tuned, Cowboys fans, because the story is far from over and the drama is just getting started. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Dallas Cowboys news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and IT makes a big difference. Thank you. Now, let's continue with the big reveal. Now, as we look ahead, it's impossible not to wonder what the future holds for this franchise. Will Jerry Jones decide to shake things up further? Will Eberflus's job be on the line if the defense doesn't improve? And what about the players? Will they rise to the occasion or continue to struggle under the weight of expectations? These are questions that will dominate the offseason discussions, but for now, everything hinges on these final 3 weeks. The Cowboys' fate is ultimately in their hands, but with their current defensive struggles, it's a tough road ahead. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cowboys. Do you believe they can turn things around? Or do you think this season might be a lost cause? I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned and keep supporting your team no matter what.